All right, and we are live for the Omega Championship preview with
Hey,
special
buddy, hold
guest
on.
host Cody.
What are you doing talking? This isn't you. That's not fair. If we don't let Andrew introduce himself, then that's not fair.
The two-time
All right.
defending champion doesn't need an introduction.
Slow down, buddy. Hold on now. Give me a second. Let's save the trash talk for the end. Okay. So in Omega, we have the big championship. Andrew Strickland versus Kenny Stevens. Now, say what you want to say real quick, Andrew. Get it off your chest. Okay, here we go.
Well, Kenny's been running his mouth all season, so let him introduce himself.
Okay. All right. All right, let's just get straight.
Hey, we're number one seed for a reason. The playoffs have been chalk so far, with the top seeds winning every single week. First week, seeds 1 through 4 won. Top 2 seeds won last week. So here we are.
I mean, let's get into it here. Kenny, you have ran through playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, you've won by almost 100 every week.
Yeah.
While Andrew squeaked out a win last week, but in his defense, he's had much harder competition.
I mean, I had the highest points scored week 1, and
Correct.
so I don't put much stock in the competition argument. It's I
earned
that through the regular season record. Edged Andrew out by less than 8 points in points for in the regular season for the 1 seed.
Now you did finish as the 1 seed, but with only one more win than Andrew.
Me losing Dak for four or 5 weeks kind of helped you in that endeavor, but yeah, go ahead.
Me losing Michael Thomas and J.K. Dobbins didn't exactly help things either. Bateman.
Now you've also decided to keep Rashad White and Hassan Haskins on the taxi squad.
As of right now, the lineup is not locked until 8:15 tonight.
Okay. Now let's keep things straight here. You did only win one more game than Andrew in the regular season. You did.
Was it one more?
And you only had 8 points more in points scored. 4, but Andrew had 250 points more scored against him. So is your record inflated by facing weak competition? Is it really fair to say you're a better team when you won 1 extra game but scored 250 less points against you?
Yeah, I mean, best defense is to keep not have the defense out there. Just keep the offense on the field.
All right. So let's go through the lineups real quick. Okay. Let's see. Well, for first starters, the last time you guys played was a very interesting matchup. Let's pull that one up real quick. Now, I know you guys don't want to talk about it because, it was weeks and weeks and weeks ago. But Kenny did win by 7 points.
Strictly because of the trade I made that week with Lum.
I would blame Kirk Cousins for the loss. I mean, Andrew lost by 7 points and his quarterback put up less than 10. But you go off, Kenny.
The difference in that matchup, so I won by less than 7 points. I was going to start Burrow that week before I made the trade with Lum for Stafford, Sutton, and Pollard. Only one of those guys has been a consistent producer this season, Tony Pollard, but he is now looking like he's going to be out for tonight's matchup. But in week 2, we won by just under 7 points. Difference between Stafford and Joe Burrow in points was just over 7. So starting Stafford from that trade over Burrow in week 2 can be pointed at the single decision that won that matchup. And yeah.
Now, you're going up against the 2-time champion. Andrew, do you have any rebuttal as to what happened in week 2?
I don't pay attention to regular season, so I don't even look back at it. I'm about championships. You don't win championships looking at the past. You win championships looking at the future. Just don't got much to say on it.
But let's look at the past for a second, and let's look at championships from the past. You're at 2 in a row. Do we make it a 3-peat this weekend?
Yes. I mean, I think the fantasy gods they want Omega to be blessed with a close matchup. So letting Henry sit this week, I think, just gives Kenny that false hope. You want somebody that hasn't been there before to have that opportunity to think he's got a shot. So seeing Henry not play and seeing Eckler questionable, Deontay questionable, Dak, who knows what's going to happen with the Cowboys? Did they play their starters the whole game? I think it all adds to the drama of, you know, let Kenny think he has a shot. I think it's a good thing. You know, when for somebody that hasn't been there before, you want them to feel that encouragement going in. And I'm all about people, so I'm really excited for Kenny to finally be here. He's put a lot of work in, and I think it'll be a good experience for him to see what it takes to win a championship.
All right. Now, before we get too far, let's go through the lineups. Burrow, Prescott. Kenny's going to start Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And it appears Andrew will roll with Dak Prescott. Are we both confident in that?
Yeah, I started drinking at 8 a.m. this morning. I'm trying to get myself drunk enough to play Daniel Jones, because I don't know if Dak's gonna play the full game. But I don't know there's enough alcohol in the world to get me to make that decision for championship week. At the same time, looking at the future, I think what a story that would be if I took the championship with Daniel Jones. I feel like that would just inflate my ego even more. In talking to Kenny. Moving forward, if he had to tell people, man, I lost to Daniel Jones in championship week, how shitty would that feel? So the narrative, the storyline there, really, it drives me a little bit. So might have to do it. Haven't fully decided yet, though.
Now, the matchup for Dak is juicy.
It is.
See, I mean, Tony Pollard out. This could be the week. The problem is Joe Burrow's playing Buffalo. Burrow does not have a cakewalk this week.
He has a lot to play for. That's the difference.
Correct. All right, Let's move down to running backs. Eckler and Pollard. Kenny's going to start Pollard, hypothetically, if things go well. Andrew's going to start Eckler as RB1. Where do we stand with Pollard, Kenny?
It's sounding like he's a game time decision tonight. Considering how many people, I don't expect Pollard to play.
All right, so then the pivot is to put Dalvin up there in the flat or in the RB1 spot.
Yeah, I've already moved Dalvin and ETN up to RB1 and RB2. I think kind of where it should be.
Now Dalvin's been nothing special this year. How does this make you feel losing Pollard?
Dalvin's RB9 on the season. Like, he had 37 points 2 weeks ago.
Correct. So, all right, his season numbers are inflated by one game 2 weeks ago. Congrats. Okay.
He's also going up against Green Bay. So I'm very much excited about that.
He only scored 14 against
subject of
that was week 1. He also had 90 yards. He gets 90 yards and a touch tonight. That's a 20-point game.
All right, so you touched on he's RB9. Okay. Do you, Kenny? This is a question for you. Do you know who RB1 is?
Let's see. I actually don't. Not off the top of my head.
All right, I'll fast forward here for you.
Alex Eckler, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Against a resurging Los Angeles Rams defense. Andrew, does the game last week give you any doubt in Eckler's ability as to what he will be going up against? Does the matchup scare you a little bit more now than it did a week ago?
No, the Broncos are trash. So, I mean,
he's playing the Rams.
I know, but the Rams defense.
Oh, okay. Really yes.
So I'm not concerned about it. Eckler will get his.
Okay. I agree with you. Now, what's the pivot plan from Derrick Henry? Slide Leonard Fournette up?
Yeah. Slid Fournette up. And then I have McKinnon, which thank you, Kenny, for gifting me that in the offseason. You know,
I was hoping we'd avoid that again.
The thing about being a championship contender is being able to look forward. And when you drop a player that turns into an RB1 week in and week out in June, and then the rest of the league ignores him, and I'm able to pick him up for $0 blind bidding dollars, I think it says a lot about just foresight and the ability to just grab the bull by the horns and just take it. He was one of those guys that people wanted included in trades, and I felt the need to keep him on a championship roster. So,
which is important that we bring up that you picked him up for $0 because you literally have $0 remaining.
I didn't have $0 at the time. I had my full budget at the time.
Oh no, but you were out of money now in the game.
Yeah,
I mean this is
now,
it.
Yep.
Kenny, did that money situation lead to anything interesting this week that you could actually afford to block anything Andrew needed to do on waivers?
Neither of us did anything on waivers.
I don't have anybody worth dropping, unfortunately. Even if I wanted to look at the waivers, my team is so good. There's just nobody that I'd be willing to drop at this point.
Oh, there is strong confidence.
Well, there's a reason I don't even have any draft picks. I mean, who would I drop for a draft pick at this point? It's hard. It's hard to be good.
All right, so let's get into the receivers real quick. Kenny's going to be starting Waddle and CD, and Andrew's going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we currently have Michael Gallup slotted in. That would lead some to believe there is a slight advantage to Kenny's side. Andrew, how does that make you feel that there is a decided advantage on one side of this?
I think it really depends on how you look at it. Waddle's got Teddy Bridgewater throwing to him this week, so how much of an advantage are we really going to see?
New England's down 3 of their starting DBs.
No, for sure. I mean, I get it.
And Gallup could end up playing with Cooper Rush for half a game.
Which Cooper Rush has already shown what he can do. I think this is a game where they get the ball to Gallup, and it's getting right for the playoffs. And Tennessee has a terrible pass defense, so not too worried about it. I mean, 10 to 15 points from Gallup is more than enough.
So I believe that this matchup will ride a lot on what happens tonight with Dallas's game. It really will. If CD goes off and Gallup does nothing, there's going to be an issue. But if Gallup goes off and CD doesn't do much.
I mean, we got 4 players going tonight from the Dallas game, and then I got Hassan Haskins lurking there as a possible call-up from the taxi squad.
Yeah, what's keeping you from doing that?
Dallas's rushing defense. I know Andrew was kind of talking earlier before you joined, being like they're not that great. I mean, they kept Philly in check pretty well last week, rushing wise. I mean, ETN ran over them 2 weeks ago, so it's definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of just a matter of who am I benching for Haskins, and can I justify sitting J.K. Dobbins or Jacoby Myers or Rashad White or Pacheco, even for a guy who's had like 8 carries this entire season.
How do you justify? How are you going to justify benching somebody you've never started?
Right. Yeah. I mean, how can I justify starting a guy who's gotten 11 carries all season? Like, he didn't get me here. I think I kind of got to ride with the guys who got me here at this point. And I do think, though, that this Dallas matchup tonight is kind of going to set the scene a lot. Like, if Dak goes off, but CD does nothing, I think this matchup is over before it starts. Because if Dak goes off and CD gets held to under 10, that likely means that Gallup and Schultz both had big nights. And if Andrew gets the triple stack, it's over.
I don't have Schultz.
So he does not. But while we're there, let's address the elephant in the room. Andrew, you currently have 3 tight ends in your lineup. How can you bench Evan?
He's won with that same matchup, with that same tight end stack last 2 seasons.
How could you not? How could you bench Evan Ingram? You're not going to bench Kelsey.
I'm not benching anyone.
Goddard is the one, is it? So Goddard is stuck in the lineup.
Yeah. I see no reason to bench him.
No Deontay against Baltimore?
Nah.
Interesting.
You're getting the 3 tight ends.
I think the people would question why McKinnon, Montgomery, Deontay Johnson are all on the bench when Dallas Goddard is in the starting lineup.
McKinnon's in the starting lineup now with Henry being out. So McKinnon's in.
Okay.
Deontay, I just don't trust him as much with Pickett. I just don't trust Pickett. If Trubisky was starting, I would roll with Deontay because Trubisky feeds his wide receiver one. So, and we've seen that throughout the season. Demont is somebody that I'm struggling with. I might actually put him in for McKinnon. Just because McKinnon didn't do much last week, he's been very touchdown dependent. So we'll see. But again, the narrative, I like beating Kenny with somebody that I picked up for $0 that he dropped. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches. Like I said, it's nice that Henry's not playing. Gives another guy a chance to step up that wouldn't have had the opportunity. Did we lose Kenny? Or did we lose Cody?
I think he's just there we are. Cody, you still here, buddy?
No. I'm here.
All right, it looks like you froze for a second. Let's keep going then.
I probably did. I'm not gonna lie to you. The internet's trash. Hold on, we're moving to better internet, boys.
Oh, good.
All right.
Surprised you weren't sitting out there ripping a heater, Cody.
I'm taking this my job very seriously here, boys.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So, I think there's a serious question to be had about Kenny's flexes. We talked about how Andrew's starting tight ends left and right, 2 in the flex spot. Kenny's currently got AJ Brown, Christian Watson. Kenny's got strong flexes. Kenny, do you feel like that gives you the advantage?
I mean, Pollard and Watson both seem to be trending towards not playing, so definitely adds a lot of question marks to what I'm going to do in my flex. The big question I do think my top 3 wide receivers, the big dogs, they're what got me here. Them and Kittle. Kittle 2 30-point games in a row for me. Almost benched him week 15, but last second started him. So Andrew was giving me a ton of shit for that. He didn't think I was actually serious about it, and I actually was. I did not have Kittle in the starting lineup. Was fully set on riding with Everett that week over Kittle because I just didn't trust Brock Purdy. But looks like Purdy and Kittle got a nice connection right now, so hoping that continues. I mean, AJ Brown is a stud, even with Gardner Minshew in there. Had 18 points last week, so hoping he can just get his job done and kind of meet projections at this point, and then hope one of the other guys can go off.
Is there any desire to slide in Isaiah Pacheco just to almost block the McKinnon train that Andrew could slot in for him?
Pacheco is interesting. Like, he's getting the majority of carries. So against somebody like Denver, who I expect it to be a slow game, I hope that could work in his favor. But he's just not getting like the receiving work. And McKinnon I mean, it's just going to be, can he pop off for one goal line carry and steal a touchdown, essentially? He's been kind of quiet on that front. He hasn't had a touchdown since week 13 against Cincinnati. So kind of feel like he could be due. He's been very efficient with his touches. So it does give me pause. If Pollard is out, Pacheco is probably who I slot up there. I just don't trust the Ravens right now, so I don't know if I can roll out J.K. Dobbins, especially against the Steelers defense. So if Pollard is out tonight, I think it's going to be Pacheco starts, and then if Watson is out, then it's probably going to be Jacoby Myers.
All right, Kenny, I've got one last question for you. What does it mean to you to win this game? The league wants to know if you can take down the tyranny, the reign that is happening.
Giving our best. I mean, Andrew has run Omega for the last 2 seasons. We have had, this is the 4th year of Omega. There's only been 2 champions because Bobby won year 1 and then Andrew has won every year since then. So I think it's time for a changing of the guards. Andrew wore his Sunday best for us today for the funeral. So let's Let's bring down the king.
Andrew, kind of the same question to you, but what would it mean to go on the three-peat and essentially ruin the hopes and dreams of everybody left in Omega?
Part of me wants to see Kenny win. It's hard to play in a league for this long and continue to win. I've put in the buy-ins just like everybody else, and winning $3,000 every year, it's tough. I'm not a selfish guy. I'm not a greedy guy. I'd like to see other people win. I think I've done that with my trades. I've tried to set Kenny up with success. I've sent multiple firsts for players that aren't worth that. But there's only so much giving I can do. When you build a juggernaut, sometimes things just roll your way. So what does it mean to me to win? Another $3,000. That's what it means.
That's cold.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate the donations of everybody. You guys are the real MVP. I appreciate all of you. You guys that have stuck around through massive rebuilds and have helped feed my team. I just appreciate all of you. I can't express enough how thankful I am to people like Rue and Joe and Lum and even Kenny that just have fed my team players. I just appreciate all of you. Couldn't be here without you.
Andrew, one last question for you. Are you bored?
Sometimes. It's hard. It's hard to stay engaged. This season I think I've kind of held back a little bit because Kenny's been the one going off and talking all season. It's been kind of nice to not have to say much. But having this little chat has given me an opportunity to express myself, and it's still fun to win. It's hard to get bored when you're winning, and I think the person I feel worse for is Zach. He's ran into me last 2 years in the semifinals, and he would have killed me in the championship game last year. It's just been rough for him because he has a juggernaut of a team, and I feel bad for him. I think all genuineness, I would have been okay losing to Zach if he had taken it, just because he has a massive juggernaut of a team. But Kenny can F off.
Kenny, let's transition to you real quick, just kind of for the closing statements here. After hearing Andrew just kind of tell you, he told you, I'm not in this league. He's telling you he is kind of bored, just accepting money and players and almost just existing to ruin this league for you and everybody else in it. How does that feel?
It's gonna feel pretty good when we win this week. I think we got the big bad. Everybody knows. I'm also kind of public enemy. I'm not the most beloved character in Omega. I think people love to hate me, so I think people are probably quietly rooting for Andrew, even still. So, you know what? I think it's gonna be a gauntlet. We got two juggernauts going up against each other here. Andrew's been through the buzzsaw, so he's battle tested this season and this playoff, or past seasons and this playoff. But it's gonna be a hell of a ride. I think that's kind of what it comes down to.
All right, boys. Well, I'm here to give my final predictions. You ready? It's gonna be 150 to 170 in Kenny's favor.
If my team scores 150, I will be shocked.
I think it's a low-scoring week. I think it's a real low-scoring week. And I don't trust the Goddard move. I'm just going to say it. Now, do either of you have any last statements you want to say to each other or the league before one of you is a winner and one of you is the first loser?
If you want to put your money where your mouth is, Cody, I'd be willing to take a side bet on the matchup. That would be my last little statement.
I refuse to put any money on you against Omega. You've won plenty of money from Omega.
Yeah, just checking.
I mean, we're playing with house money this season. We've cashed in on a bunch of Guru of the Weeks, and our little side bet with Spitta, who decided to bet against me, who was going to have the better record this season. Number one seed versus didn't make the playoffs. So between that bet and multiple Guru of the Weeks, we're positive on the season already in Omega. So we're looking to just kind of keep this pain train rolling. We're the one seed for a reason, and both of us built up the depth, but I think we got it.
Well, let's have a clean match. Let's hope for no injuries. This is a dynasty league. It doesn't end after this week. We want no injuries, safe, and a fun competitive matchup at the very least.
All right. Thank you, Cody.
I wish you both good luck, and fuck Omega.